This keyboard is of legend, the Geon F2-84, the successor to one of the most critically acclaimed This keyboard is of legend, the Geon F2-84, the successor to one of the most critically acclaimed keyboards of 2021, the Geon F18X. Like I mentioned, this keyboard is made by a man named Geon, a man who literally owns his own factory and designs and manufactures high-end machined aluminum keyboards and sells them basically for the cost of material. He's been a godsend to people in the hobby as he's exhibited full transparency, letting us mortals understand what goes on behind the scenes in terms of design and pricing. He may very well be the second coming of keyboard Jesus. The F2, as I shall call it, it's a very steep keyboard with external weights and a unique gasket mount design. It's using these little strips that get sandwiched in and holds the plate together. It follows a very Korean design aesthetic and yields a very old school sound. Unlike its lower front height cousin, these boards simply do not exhibit any hollowness, and the spacebar is solid. They're heavy as hell and will put a damn dent in your desk. That's why people love them. 7.7 pounds, 3.5 kilos, 124 ounces. To give you background as to why the sequel is so important, we must talk about the F18X. It was a Korea-only release at around $300, and it was a very good value for the final product. It was clearly the end game for a lot of people. The unfortunate thing is the demand skyrocketed, so by the time Korean residents wanted to sell to US buyers, the market price went up to $1,000. It actually stayed there for a long time. Geon hated this, so he wanted to make more F18X units and would constantly talk about his plans to make more keyboards and bring more units to the market. The F2 is the successor and has a more refined look compared to the F1. It's supposed to be an upgrade in every way, but we were shocked by the results. Let's get into the review. The look of the F2 is stunning to look at if you appreciate understated designs. This keyboard is not that flashy. From the top, it looks like a keyboard. From the side, it has a wedge shape that looks like a keyboard. The only visual flair from the top down is a sticker that you install yourself. From the back you can see the shiny weight, but that's not much when most of the time you're looking at the top. From the bottom there are two weights, one is centered on the back and the other is on the rear of the case. This is the thing you see from the back itself. They're both shiny stainless steel, so it's a nice little flex piece. It's very heavy, it's very quality, except the weights were actually scuffed in the in-stock sale. We're not sure what happened, but there was a lot of QC issues and a lot of customers ended up getting weights that had marring and rounded edges. It just didn't look great. Geon is doing his best to resolve this issue, so join the Discord to get the most up-to-date information. Overall, it's a very unfortunate experience and I feel very bad for Geon as well as the customers themselves. But let's get back to review. The feel of this keyboard was honestly a surprise to me. With the F1, there was actually a modification to the strips that we're using for gasketing. You can actually use a softer silicone strip that's available on Amazon and continue to use the stock viton on the bottom. This combined with the numerous flex cuts on the plate yielded a very bouncy typing experience, and it was extremely fun. Now for this board, it's quite different. The theory is that the space in the case was reduced a bit so there was less flexibility. The typing experience is pretty stiff, but we're using both viton gaskets here. It is stiff by definition. If you want to do plateless, Geon does sell a plateless kit as well. Because there's so many options you can do, I recommend getting an extra PCB. With the stiffness, for some reason, it came with a more muted sound. It's not a bad sound, but when we put broken in MX blacks on aluminum, we expected a certain type of sound, especially coming from a heavy aluminum TKL. But it was like 10 to 20% more muted than we expected. This broke the stream. During the sound test, a lot of people touted for the F18X supremacy. The sound and bounce was what really brought the F1 to the forefront of the endgame keyboard discussion. The sound is still clean, inoffensive, and the spacebar is exactly what I expect. It is remarkably well-rounded, but that's what might make me bored of it. But as a non-F2 owner, this entire review may be copium, and this just may be a eulogy to the experiences that may never be. The reality is this keyboard is very good, and the designer has great involvement in the community, and the attention to detail is unmatched. It's heavy as hell and feels like quality. It's understated, but feels very refined. It's not being ruined by a bad spacebar like the Frog or slight hollowness in the case like other boards, but it's almost too perfect, so it feels like a less perfect keyboard for an endgame. This may be the sequel that everyone asked for, but maybe the original was better? That's going to be the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.